Alright guys, so a few years ago I built a 7-foot tall corner hutch. Boom, right there. You guys really seem to enjoy that, so I thought, let's make another corner hutch. This time let's do it a lot different. Okay, this thing's gonna be completely unique, and being unique, we need something off the wall for material. So let's go hunt for some material.
So it's about 25 degrees out right now. Absolutely no wind. We'll see what happens. Felt good. That hit felt good. We'll give it a little bit and then we'll go see if we can find it. Alright. Trail looks good.
Alright, now we got the material. We're gonna go out there, we're gonna cut up to manageable sections and bring it in the shop. Alright, so first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build the carcass. Now that might seem like a twisted joke after the opening, but we're going to build the carcass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip down some OSB, and I'm trying to really build this with what I have in the shop. That's why I'm using OSB, but the entire part of the cabinet that you're going to see will not be, the OSB will not be exposed. But to do that, I need to rip both the sides of this triangle thing with a 45-degree angle, so the front, well, you'll understand it. So I gotta rip this down, get this down to 45, and then rip 2 pieces of OSB, 6 feet tall. I think I'm gonna go 14 inches wide on this. I'm gonna do a really smaller cabinet here. I hate trying to set these angles. Close enough. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this carcass together. I'm just going to glue it, nail it, screw it, all the fun stuff. So this is where things are going to get a little tricky. I got all of the bottom shelves in, and then the carcass is like a carcass, right? The top shelf I will do after I get the inside stuff laid out. But this bottom is what I want to face right now. And because of the way that I'm actually doing this thing, I need to have a giant lip right at this edge where this face is going to be. So I'm going to use 2x for the facing here, 2x for the facing on the bottom, and then I'm going to use pallet wood to face the sides. It might be a cluster, but I think this is going to be the best way to do it. We're going to tackle that first, and then we'll tackle the top. So first I got to rip down some 2x. Alright, so this is where the facing is going to get a little tricky here. As you can see, so I took some pallet boards and I ripped that 45-degree bevel on the back. Don't not do this. Make sure you do this because it makes it hug against the wall a lot tighter with that facing, like that, and then up here. So we're going to run these right here, and then I got the 2x, the bottom and the top shelf here. I'm going to attach these through the back so I don't have to have any fasteners showing here. And these I'll just probably use the finishing nailer and finish through here. So glue, nails, screws, same thing we've been doing, but this will give this that frame. And then I got at some point we'll rip a board to cover this. time. So those nails that I just shot through actually went through. I don't know if you can quite see it very well. Now whenever this happens on something that's on the backside where no one's ever going to see it, angle grinder with the cutoff wheel, that's how I take care of those. Of course, if you're going to see it, you got to do something different, but that works if no one's ever going to see it. The whole thing has been faced. I have all the beadboard in, but here's the idea with the trees that we cut down earlier is I want to use these to actually face this top half, and then with the shelf that I'm going to put in there, have the branch run across, and that's what will hold the shelf. I honestly don't know if this will work or how it will even look, so we're going to try it. I'm just going to start cutting stuff and we're going to see where we go. The trees are not nearly as straight as I was hoping for. I'll take it up with the man upstairs, try to get him some straighter trees, but I'm going to try to do this. This branch will be my cross piece, but this is all split and looks like crap. How far down can I go? I need this thing to be to the other side first without the shelf, because that's going to be my top piece. I think that would work best that way. So this is going to be the top runner piece. I need a tape measure. So to the bottom of that's got to be about 35. So I'm going to cut a little bit bigger so I can cut backwards. I can't add to the tree. It's going to be very difficult to do that. So then this top's got to get cut. I'm going to go a little long. A little long on the top, and I'll show you guys why. Okay, so now in theory, this is probably going to go this way. You do it like that, then like that. That don't look too stupid, does it? Does it look stupid? Alright, I definitely got to come down. So I want to come down to about there. Put that like that, and then that, something like that. What do you think? I think I got to cut. No, I'll leave that because I have an idea there. Alright, so I'll screw this in through the back to get this temporarily adhered to it so I can cut the other side. So I figured out where I want my shelf. I made some spacers so the shelf will sit level and flat. Put some glue on here. And then I drilled holes so I can screw behind it, and it should work out beautifully. I need my screws wherever I can. So then this was this one. Should go something like that. Does that look stupid? It might look stupid. I hope it doesn't look stupid. Maybe a little bit. Okay, so now that I know that the tree thing will work up there, I got that shelf in place. What I need to do now is now I can start working on finishing this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt something that I have never ever seen, don't know how to do, but up here I've got an idea. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do a old barn like siding stuff that's all red and kind of whitewashed and everything. I'm going to try to do that with all of this wainscoting in here, wainscoting, wainscoting, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to try to mimic that in here, and then I'll also just keep that flowing in here. Again, I don't have the pallet right now, the pallet wood to do the door here. So I'm going to leave this part will just be this natural old looking wood. This top will hopefully look more of an old red barn, and then we'll have the trees that grow off of it. So that's kind of the plan. I'm going to take some red paint, I'm going to thin it a lot, and then I'm going to paint this with that, and then once that dries, I'm going to sand it to try to knock it down. So I'm just going to paint the inside of this right now. Alright, so with a little bit of dry brushing, I was able to kind of get that rustic-y barn look. So what I'm going to do now that it's dry is I'm actually going to go through with the DA sander and lightly sand it, try to rough it up, give it more of a rustic-y look. After that, coat it clear, and then we're going to do something I never thought I'd say on one of my builds. We'll put the trees back on the hutch.
I got a pallet, so I got enough to do that front door now. So now let me show you how I break down pallets, because I know there's a lot of different ways people do it. I take a Sawzall with a metal blade, and I just run behind the boards the best I can. Mine need to get a pry bar to pry them out a little bit. I just cut all the nails. I leave the nails in. If you don't want the nails in, you can go back through with the punch and get all the nails out. So whenever I'm using pallet wood and I'm trying to lay them out and see how I like them, every board looks a little bit different. It has its own personality, really. So I lay them out and I try to see which way I want. I need 15 inches of board, so I could do it like this. I'm gonna have to rip one of these down anyway, so I think I'm just gonna stick like this. I could do this instead. If I do 3 boards, then I have less seams. Just a matter of trying to figure out how you want it to look. I'm going to rip all these down on the chop saw to 30 inches tall, and we'll actually build the store up. But first part is just trying to figure out the layout that you want. So, because of the way that I'm going to do it, I am gonna do it with the 3 boards. So what I need to do is I want to make it look symmetrical, I guess would be the word. So I'm going to measure out the 3 boards real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this right here, get my dimension, which is 16 inches. I want it to be down to 15 inches. I need to take a ½ inch off of this board and this board, and that way the whole thing will look symmetrical. Then I have these boards right here that we'll put here and there to hold it together. So I'm going to rip these on the table saw, and then we'll get to gluing this thing together. Okay, and now we have established that the top of the cabinet is supposed to look like an old school barn, a weathered. Now the door to the bottom I want to look, and don't laugh, I want it to look like an outhouse. That's why I'm doing this the way I am. But what would an outhouse door be without the iconic half moon sliver thing in there? That's what I'm doing now is I'm actually going to just draw it out, and then we're going to cut it out with the jigsaw. Good enough. Battery has 1 bar left. We'll see if that's enough to even finish this up. So now, I'm going to glue and nail this thing together. Door is done. I have all of the black hardware attached to it. I know it looks fantastic. Now, the key when you're trying to do like a pallet type rustic thing is you do want to sand it a little bit. You don't want to sand it too much or too aggressively. If you can see right here, I actually sanded it a little more than what I would like. But you want to get a lot of those boogers off. And the door does fit, but it is now time to install it. Alright, I think the door looks incredible. The problem is, and I always seem to not necessarily forget this, but overlook it, but I need a way to make it stay. So obviously I need to put a magnet on it. The way I always do this is I just get those magnet kind of things. Now the one thing I do is I'll put a block back here, but before you put the block back there, attach your magnet. Way easier than trying to attach the block and then getting up there with those little tiny screws and going up that way. Way easier to do it this way and then attach it in the inside, which is what I'm going to do right now. I didn't forget because I bought it. I just didn't remember to put it on. There's a difference. Make sure you get glue all over yourself too. That's part of the problem. Okay, now we should bang! 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 Alright, so this thing is basically done, but if you remember when I said this, a little long on the top, and I'll show you guys why. No, I'll leave that because I have an idea there. Then good job on paying attention. So I need to put something up here. Now earlier, me and my son built a birdhouse. Now this contraption, Hutch, is actually going to my wife's grandma. So I wanted to make it so that my son was involved in making this. So we're going to put a birdhouse right there. And yes, I got little fake birds for it. Look at that. Now you tell me what grandma would not love this thing. B-roll time. And that is going to be it for Grandma's Corner Hutch. I know it's a little bit of a unique design and a unique build, and you might be for somebody with a specialized taste. But first of all, whenever you're doing anything for a grandma, you automatically know she's going to love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next video. It's Corner Hutch. I came out fast. See you guys in the next video.